Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1. Hello, my good friends, and welcome back once again to another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show, the only place you need to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. And guess what, folks? I'm on vacation this week. Oh, yes. How exciting is that? Well, it all depends on how you look at it. Myself, personally, I am so heavily involved right now with home improvement projects. I was hoping to go camping this week. I don't know if that's going to happen. It still may. This weekend's coming up. I may be able to sneak away for a couple of days, depending upon how the weather looks, and just get out there and relax a little bit. I would hate to spend 1 week off of work and not take in at least 1 or 2 days of camping. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? But you know how that goes. I have been working here in the studio day in and day out, in addition to a full-time job. And, you know, folks, the work does pile up around the house. If you're a homeowner, if you own your own home, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have things that need to get done, and if the more you put them off, the more things are going to keep piling up. So, you know, you've got to get to things eventually, and this week has been one of those weeks where hopefully I'll be able to knock this stuff out of the park and be done and over with. But anyway, it's good to be back here in the studio with you again. Our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show is 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and now subscribe to our YouTube channel. So many ways you can connect up with us. Go to our homepage, www.happycamperradio.com. You'll find all of our social media icons over on the right-hand side of the page. You can't miss them. Click on any one of those and you'll connect up with us. Take a look at what we do behind the scenes. Take the studio tour. A lot of great information there, camping tips available for you for when you go out this summer. You want to go camping and take in a lot of useful information along with you. You can find a lot of it right here at happycamperradio.com. Let me take a walk on over to our infamous shout-out window and say hello to some folks who have signed up this week. First of all, to Sharon Dahl Kirby of Hayward, Wisconsin, Dave Dankbar, they're both following us on Facebook, Augusta RV in Bristol, Indiana, Jesse Sees of Burleson, Texas, hello to you both, Patricia Bannon of Los Angeles, California, the fine folks at Cedar Mountain RVI, Ways Pride LLC, and finally, to our friends over at Fuso Camper in Denver, Colorado. They're following us on Twitter this week. Thank you all so very much. Glad to have you on board. And thank you for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Would you like to be on the program as a guest? I would love to chat with you. Get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Anything in the world of camping, anything you want to talk about, hey, we're up for the idea. All right, so definitely get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, happycamperradio.com, and we're going to make that happen. All right, folks, on the show today, I want to talk to you a little bit about safety and security while traveling to and from your camping destination. I think this is important because it's very easy for any of us, considering what we have going through our mind at that given moment. It's very easy for any of us to let our guard down. And the last thing we ever want to do is become a victim of a crime while traveling to and from our camping destination. As far as camping itself, once you arrive, I don't care if it's a private campground, I don't care if it's a public campground, I doubt very, very much you're ever going to run into any problems at all. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my situation here, okay? When I was traveling, and over the years, I've never had a problem. But once I got to my camping destination, all right, everything was peaches and cream. Never had a problem whatsoever. Most for the most part, folks, when we get to the campground, and bear with me a little bit, I'm losing my right channel in my headphone for some reason. I don't know why that's happening. Everything's looking good on the monitor, though. But I think I'll be okay. I'll bear with it here. But once I reached my camping destination, in all the years I have been camping, never once have I ever run into a problem with theft. Never once. No, wait a minute. I will take that back. I can recall a time several years ago, and I shouldn't even be bringing this up because it's really not an issue, okay? But I went away from my campsite for a while, and I don't know what I was doing. I may have gone down to the beach. I may have gone on a hike somewhere. But when I come back to my campsite, I noticed that there were a couple logs missing off of my stack of firewood. No big deal. All right, I didn't lose any sleep over it. I hope it helped somebody out. Most likely, if somebody came up to me and asked, hey, can I, have a couple logs off your stack of firewood there, I would have been more than happy to oblige. All right, campers look out for one another. That's one of the neat things about camping, and I don't care if it's a private campground or a public campground, everybody is there to have fun. Your fellow campers are going to look out for you. Never once in all the years I have camped and stepped away from my campsite have I come back to find something out of place, something missing, something of value gone. Now, I'm not saying it's good to leave your iPad Air 4 out or your iPhone or a wallet full of money. There's things, folks, common sense will tell you there are things that you need to put away. You need to lock them up, whether it be in your glove box or the trunk of your vehicle. You're not going to leave a television set out. You don't do things like that, okay? But as far as your camping gear goes, everything that you bring to camp most likely is going to be there when you return. I can say this also. Some time ago, and I think it was just a couple years back, I was camping over at nearby Stone Mountain Park. And there's a lot to offer there, folks. If you ever get into the state of Georgia and you want to go at a campground where you can really have fun and take in a lot of sights and sounds, the Georgia Stone Mountain Park campground is the place to be. And when I go camping over there, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump from home, but I always make it a point to take in the sights and sounds because there's so many things you can do, including taking the ski lift all the way up to the top of the mountain. My brother was in town, and a couple friends were around as well, and we went out and did a few things. When I came back to the campsite, those pesky little squirrels, yes, those little thieves, managed somehow to break into my cooler, which was secure, and got into a loaf of bread and a couple other dry items I had in store. I have a new cooler that I bought here a couple years ago, and my old cooler, I did not throw that thing away. It came in very handy for me to store dry goods in there. So, just in the event a rainstorm came by and, you didn't want anything to get wet, I thought, great, hey, this would be excellent for me to store boxes of cereal, maybe, some, whatever, some cookies and what have you. Well, those squirrels somehow managed to break in there. They got a good little nose on them. And they managed to get inside that box and get into a loaf of bread and a couple other items. So, I'm not going to answer for the wildlife, all right, folks? But, yeah, hey, they're out there. There's some things, you may want to find a way to make them secure. I thought a cooler would be fine, but they obviously have some very sharp teeth on them and are able to get into your storage unit no matter what that is. So, that's about the only problem you're ever going to have when you go camping. All right. So for the most part, don't worry about anybody stealing your stuff, your camping gear while you're at camp. I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not saying, it can't happen. But, the most likely you're going to come back and find everything at your campsite just as you left it. But what I want to talk to you today about, folks, is traveling to and from camp. Now, some people travel long distances. Nothing wrong with that. I would love to take a long-distance trip again someday. I used to do it, but most of my trips are very close by nowadays, and I really don't get away all that often. So I make very short trips, and, they're within close driving distance of home. Now, I want to share with you some of my experiences on what I'm about to talk to you about today, all right? As most of you know, if you've been following this program for any extended period of time, I am a former law enforcement officer. I retired after 18 years of service. I entered another profession totally away from the law enforcement industry altogether. But when I was a law enforcement officer, I specialized in crime prevention. I taught a lot of programs, mainly in the schools to young children, but I also got out into the community and told people how to make themselves safe and watch for certain things that they should do and should not do that would make them vulnerable to criminal activity. So here I am today, and I'm going to put my law enforcement cap back on and talk to you a little bit about some of the safety measures you can take to make you and your family safe anytime you're traveling to and from a camping destination. All right, the first thing you want to do, folks, is make sure you get there safely. And to do that is to make sure that your vehicle is in proper working order. What do I mean by that? If you're a responsible vehicle owner, you have a scheduled maintenance program that you are going to follow. You're going to change your oil regularly. You're going to check the fluids. You're going to check the air in the tires. That includes your spare tire, too. I was surprised. A friend of mine the other day got a new car and told me he did not have a spare tire. How foolish is that? He says that there was no room for one when they built this vehicle. I don't doubt him. But why would any car manufacturer ever make a new car with 4 tires and not include a spare? It doesn't make sense at all. All you're asking to do is be broke down at the side of the road, and someone is going to have to come to your rescue. So, if for the most part, most of us all do carry a spare tire, make sure that spare tire is in proper working order as well and has the appropriate amount of air inside of it. You also want to check your belts and your hoses. Anytime that you decide that you're going to go away and you have any doubt about your vehicle's stability and being able to get you from point A to point B, I'm going to get that out eventually, make sure you have it checked out. Have it checked out by a qualified mechanic. Also, charge your cell phones before you leave. That includes your emergency numbers. Have them handy. Make sure that you have a cell phone charger inside your vehicle. All my vehicles have cell phone chargers in them. Just in the event I decide I'm going to take this vehicle today or I'm going to take that vehicle tomorrow and my phone is not fully charged, I have a way of charging it right there inside the vehicle. And those cell phone chargers are very inexpensive, folks. Make sure that you have one inside your vehicle and your cell phone is fully charged before you head out on a camping trip. Keep this in mind, too. Your kids, they're going to have their smartphones, and you better believe their phones are going to be charged because they're going to be texting their friends. They're going to be playing games. They're going to be doing something, hopefully, to keep themselves occupied if on a long-distance trip to a camping destination. So follow the lead of your children. Charge your cell phones before you take off. When traveling long distances, also make sure you take a quick inventory of everything before you leave. The last thing you want to do is head down the road, get to your camping destination, and find out that you had something that you forgot to include while packing your vehicle. It happens. It sure does. That's why I say allow yourself adequate time. Don't get yourself stressed out running at the last minute. I have said time and time again, anytime that you plan a camping trip, allow adequate time to get your affairs in order, to get everything together, so you're not making any last-minute trips out on the road to get things that you left behind, or worse yet, get to your campground and find out you need something right then and there that you don't have, and you may have to drive a very long distance in order to get it. Those things do happen. So do a quick inventory. Make sure that you have everything packed before you leave. Be sure that all of your equipment and gear is tied down securely. If you're driving a pickup truck, you want to make sure that your truck is covered. If you don't have a cap or some sort of a cover on the back end and you've got all your gear there, you want to make sure that everything is covered with a tarp. Something is tied down where all your items are out of sight and out of mind. Now, I'm guilty of this to a certain extent. I drive a pickup truck. I have driven a truck all my life. Anytime I go primitive camping, all of my gear is in the bed of my pickup truck. I have an 8-foot bed. I got plenty of room. I have put pictures of all my gear on the web already, and I put it on Facebook. You can check it out right there anytime you want on Facebook, and you'll see how I pack my truck, and it's usually packed to capacity. But I don't cover my gear anytime I'm traveling. Why? Because I'm not traveling all that far. Usually when I leave the house, I will be in my vehicle for maybe 2-3 hours at the very most before I reach my camping destination. I have a full tank of gas before I leave, and I don't make any stops. So I'm not worried about security or worried about anybody taking any of my things should I decide to stop at a convenience store or maybe stop somewhere to get something to eat. I don't do those things. I drive from point A to point B and I get there. But if you're traveling a long distance, you want to make sure that all of your gear is covered, everything is tied down, and nothing is going to be flying off. Some people have a hauling trailer that goes behind their pickup truck or their passenger vehicle. If the same situation applies here, you want to make sure that all of your gear is tied down and is fastened securely. You don't want any of your items to be flying out the back as you're traveling down the interstate, and you don't want to be losing a lantern on the road or a sleeping bag here or a pillow there. No, tie all that stuff down, cover it up, and it'll be out of sight, out of mind in the event that you have to stop somewhere. Always, and I throw this out here, common sense should tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, buckle up. When you get inside your vehicle, before you start the vehicle, make sure everybody has their seatbelt on. It's so very important. It's also law, if not in all 50 states. Most state by state will require you to buckle up. I think it is law in all 50 states. Stop frequently for bathroom breaks if you're traveling long distances. I don't know how state by state does this, but on the interstate, it seems to be these rest stops are strategically placed along the interstate, so every now and then you can stop and take a break, get out and stretch, use the facilities, and that's what they're there for, folks. And a lot of these restrooms, a lot of these facilities at the side of the road there that the state runs are very, very well kept. Generally, there's someone there on site that manages the restroom facilities. Allow yourself time for a sit-down meal if you can. If you're going to be traveling 8 hours or more, definitely you're going to want to stop and eat. I don't like to eat while on the road. I don't like to have a burger in my hand as I'm traveling 55 miles down the interstate. If I'm going to be on the road for any extended period of time, I'm going to want to stop somewhere and have a good meal, which is going to be allow me some time to just sit back and just kind of rub your shoulders a little bit and take it easy. You need to do those things, and you need to allow adequate time for that when you're planning your long-distance trip. Most important, folks, when it comes to security, the most important thing you can do is lock your doors. So many times, folks forget to do this, and you make yourself vulnerable to criminal activity when you're away from your vehicle. And that includes not only your automobile, but your travel trailer and your motorhome. They have locking doors, and those doors are locked for a reason. So you want to make sure that your vehicle is properly locked, and if your travel trailer is locked, your pop-up camper, I don't want to say your pop-up camper, your truck camper, I've had one of those before. They have locking doors on them. Use them, okay? And again, any item in your pickup truck or your travel trailer or your U-Haul trailer that you're towing behind you, everything should be covered and tied down. So very important, folks. The last thing you want to do is to be sitting down for a good meal, which you're so entitled to anyway, and come out and find some of your stuff gone. You don't want to make things vulnerable. You don't want to make things easy for the criminals. Criminals are a rare breed, all right? But they are also individuals that do not like an audience anytime they're committing their criminal acts. If it's going to take them time to break into a vehicle, if it's going to take them time to get to something that they really want, and there are people coming and going, chances are they're going to look somewhere else. They don't need to be looking at you, and they don't need to be looking at any of your belongings. This includes rest stops. Stopping at public rest areas, folks, all right? Be extra cautious when visiting rest areas. Why is that? Don't think for one moment that there aren't criminals out there lurking around at rest areas. You wouldn't think so. You stop in there, and chances are sometimes you get an opportunity to talk with fellow travelers. Everybody seems cool. But you never know who is going to be there with the intent of taking something that does not belong to them. And think about this. If they do get a hold of something that does not belong to them, in other words, if they steal something, whether it be from you or somebody else, they're on the interstate, they're gone in a matter of seconds. And the item they took of yours is probably gone for good, too. So it makes it so easy for individuals who have criminal activity on their mind to lurk around at some of these rest areas. I'm not saying it happens all the time. I'm not saying that there are criminals at every rest area. But this would be an ideal place for them to steal something and get away unnoticed. What you want to do when you pull into a rest stop, try to park as close to the restroom facility or the visitor center as you possibly can. Most likely, other people are going to be there as well. And again, if criminals are going to be looking for something, they're not going to be around someone, they're not going to be around an audience because people are coming in and out of these facilities all the time. But on the other hand, if you're parked way, way down the road where nobody is looking and you're sitting over there by yourself, your vehicle most likely is going to be a better target. So you want to avoid that. Park as close as you possibly can to the visitor center or the restroom facility. Now, if somebody does enter your vehicle, let's just say you left your vehicle unlocked. Some people do this. What if someone were to go up to your vehicle, walk in, open the door, take your GPS unit, take your cell phone that was sitting there, maybe take your purse, all right, and leave? There are people still coming and going. Who's going to give that a second thought? Who's going to give that a second look? Nobody knows if that's their vehicle or not. So do you see how important it is to just simply lock the doors? I doubt very much someone is going to come in there and smash a window out while all these people are looking just to take something of yours and try to get away, because all eyes will be on them. That they don't want. If you're visiting a restroom facility or a rest stop facility and you're the only adult in your party, if you have young children with them, never, ever, under any circumstances, leave them unattended in a vehicle, especially with the vehicle locked and the vehicle turned off on a hot summer day. You don't want to do that. I hear so many stories, and you probably do too if you watch the local news. In the summertime, you have individuals, and I don't know where folks' heads are sometimes, but they go shopping somewhere, and they're only going to be gone a minute. So they have the windows rolled up, they've got the doors locked, they've got the child in the child safety seat. It's 80 to 90 degrees outside, and they're only gone for a minute, and they come back out, and either one, somebody has smashed the window to get at that child to get them to safety, and hopefully that's the case, or they come out and find a very disastrous situation. It's very bad, folks, all the way around. You never, ever, under any circumstances, leave your young children unattended in a vehicle, even at a roadside rest facility. Take your children with you. If you have two adults in the vehicle, perhaps maybe one of the adults can stay there with the children, and maybe dad can leave and take one or two of the boys to the restroom with him. And when they come back, mom takes the girls and uses the restroom facility. This way, your vehicle is never left unattended. That's also a possibility. This way, someone is going to be with your belongings at all times. Also, folks, keep this in mind, too. Criminal activities, if you see it, report it. Keep an eye out for anything suspicious around you. Take a moment to stop and look around. Does something not look right or something not feel right? I'm not saying you should live your life like this, but remember this, folks, you're away from home. Chances are you are a long distance away from home by the time you visit that public rest area. You don't want anything to happen to you, and I'm sure you are being a good individual like you are. You're a camper, of course. So you're going to look out for other people, too. If you see someone acting suspicious, report it. And by all means, never, under any circumstances, hesitate to pick up the phone and call 911. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Yep. Okay, folks, I've got a great campground I want to take you out to this week. It's out in the state of Utah, and it is the North Campground. It's part of Bryce Canyon National Park, run by the National Park Service. The North Campground is located in the beautiful and unique Bryce Canyon National Park, known for its colorful rock spirals and grand vistas that sweep out over the high plateaus region of the Colorado Plateau. Bryce Canyon is the ultimate camping destination, and like I say, it's open all year round. It's located at an approximate elevation of 8,000 feet. The campground is centrally located within walking distance of the park's visitor center. Talk about natural beauty. The Ponderosa Pine Forest towers over the North Campground, offering equal parts of sun and shade. The site is situated in a gently rolling landscape dotted with shrubs and summer wildflowers. It makes me want to go there right now. They've got a lot of great things going on out there. Astronomers love visiting Bryce Canyon, where 7,500 stars are visible over a moonless night. An annual astronomy festival is held in June, and astronomy and stargazing programs are offered on more than 100 nights throughout the year. Guided full moon hikes are also a fun way to experience the park at night. A lot of great camping opportunities, a lot of great hiking opportunities as well. Take a look at some of their activities and amenities right there on their website. Accessible picnic areas, an amphitheater, birding, campfire rings, educational programs. They have a firewood vendor over there. You can't beat that. Flush toilets, a grocery store for any of those last-minute items that you may have forgotten, laundry facilities, and so much more. Check out all the information on their website, including the know before you go items. So very important. I'm going to have a link to it on our homepage all week long at happycamperradio.com. A great place to go camping this summer, a great place to visit. It's North Campground in Utah, and it is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, by all means, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, and we'll make sure that we get that campground as one of our featured facilities on a future program. All right, folks, well, that's about going to wrap it up for me this week for another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. I always enjoy talking with you. I always enjoy taking the moment to speak with you a little bit about what we can do to make your camping experiences a whole lot better. And I am just dying to get back out in the forest again. Put up that tent, take in some great, wonderful sleep each and every night, and more importantly, sit by the campfire. Hey, folks, remember, every pet deserves a loving home. Do like I did. Visit your local pet facility. and adopt a pet today. You can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to circles on Google+, and now subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no question about it, my friends, we're going to do our best to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again soon. This is Happy Camper.